Happy weekend, Brunchers. I'm Bailey Minogue.
And I'm Uncle Collin.
And this is a very special year-end edition of Too Much for Brunch.
Have you ever thought about letting go? Letting go of certain people in your life, letting go of certain circumstances and experiences, being ready to say goodbye to a certain chapter of your life.
I've been living in Toronto for about a year, and I really loved it. And it gave me the strength to move out of New York. But I knew that I had to let go of so many things in my life. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. People always say really terrible things about being selfish, but there's really nothing wrong with being selfish in some situations.
I have been really stretching myself too thin. I was always helping someone else, and I was doing it to detriment of myself and my own health. And I finally made a decision. I said, what am I doing living my life for other people? I said, I can still be a good friend. I can still be a good son. I can be a good cousin, whatever. But I can't be that if I have no concept of what myself is or what I'm doing. And if I'm consistently always being stressed or, living for someone else. I gotta live for myself first.
For sure.
Edit.
When I announced that I wasn't moving to Toronto permanently, I got a lot of really sideways comments about it. But I was like, I didn't say I'm staying here. I just said I can't be in Toronto because I'm not Canadian. So I think you misheard me. And then when I announced that I was moving to Texas, I got so much disdain. But that just showed me which friends weren't real friends. I've had friends tell me to my face, oh, you'll be back. Oh, I'll give it 6 months. I had a friend who was like, you were expecting people to come to your going away party and you didn't do enough for me when I moved. And he had only moved a few miles away from his house. I had friends who said I would never move because I was taking so long. If you love someone, you don't basically tell them that they shouldn't have any self-worth. So I have been blocking people on Facebook left and right. And I'm really okay. And I'm really okay with that.
I'm proud of you because I am the king or queen, depending on what I'm blocking.
He really is. And I really his blocking regimen actually inspired mine. I decided that when I was going to leave for Texas, I wasn't taking any baggage. So the first step I did was I immediately became very hands-off with all of my friends, you included. I was very much like, I'm leaving, taking a step back. Once you guys get used to me not being here. So I took a step back away from all of my friends just to see who would stay around. So that was, the first group of people out the door. But then, as I was, reaching out to people as I get closer to the move, I started realizing just which friends were being extremely hateful or even jealous of the fact that I was leaving. I would say in the last 2 months, I've blocked probably close to 30 people. And some of them are really good friends. Some of them have actually been in videos on Too Much for Brunch, and we are never speaking again.
Yeah, when he told me that, when he was like, yeah, I blocked, I said, wait, didn't I just see them?
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to my blocking regimen, I had decided years ago, I did not sing when I did that. R.I.P. Wit. If you were not a friend to me, if you suddenly stopped really being a friend, stopped being supportive, or if you did weird things, like, I had a friend who wanted to do a friend test, so they defriended a whole bunch of people. I was like, I don't have time for this bullshit. I'm too old for this. I don't care about it. And the people who defriended me because of whatever reason on Facebook, I took that as, okay, I blessed and released them from my life, and they were blocked in every single electronic medium that I could find. They cease to exist, and they are non-entities.
Yes.
Because they are. Anyone who can't support you, anyone who can't be in your life is a non-entity.
I live my life in a very distant fashion. I'm a good friend, but I'm really arm's length. I'm a little bit too blunt to be acceptable in a lot of situations, because if you ask me, I'm going to tell you what I feel, not what you need to hear. So don't ask me the questions if you don't want an actual answer, for one. I live my life in a way where I don't need much from my friends.
Sure.
But I was very, very public about my disdain for that community and why I don't want to be a part of it anymore. So I feel like anyone who calls themselves a friend of mine and come up to me and then be like, oh, you'll be back, then you're just saying that you don't believe in me. Or you don't believe that I have what it takes to make it in a community that doesn't hate me. So that's really a shitty thing to do to someone.
Well, and I feel like, one of the things that I always said, as his friend / uncle, my experience was different. We are different people. We're different ages, and I'm light skinned, I'm shorter, I'm not. There's like all these different sort of like aspects that play into it when it comes to sort of the racial game. But it's still there. It still exists. But I always told him, and I always urged him, you might want to drop some of these, yahoos that you're hanging with, because I feel like that is clouding your experience. That being said, it almost sort of came to fruition when he said, all right, I'm leaving, and these same yahoos that have been sort of saying from the jump, you might want to cut. They were the ones who were saying, you're going to be back, this, that, and the other, or whatever.
All the hate and all the opportunities that were denied me, I still had a pretty decent social standing, probably because I'm shady, I'm funny. So people liked me to be there. People wanted me at the parties because I'm funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I ever had an issue where people were like not wanting me around. They didn't want to date me. They didn't want me dating their friends. They didn't want me like at their house.
Playing a role.
Yeah, they wanted me to play that role. They never wanted me to build myself or have anything of my own. They were just like, come to my party and be funny.
Or truly represent yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that you're much more than being a funny person.
Yes.
There's way more to Bailey Minogue than that.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, we need you to do this.
Yes.
Your role is funny. You're jester for the evening.
Exactly.
And serve that role.
So, that's how I made it in New York. I let myself kind of play that role because I knew that's what people expected from me. And I knew that was the only way anyone was ever going to be nice to me.
Mm-hmm.
But when it got to the point of, even when I was living in Toronto, I knew I'd be back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do is I would just close my Facebook account so I really didn't have to deal with anyone in New York.
Mm-hmm.
When I came back, I had too much of brunch going, so I had to have my Facebook open because it's a marketing tool. So I had to deal with the community in New York again. But when I got really close to leaving, I would say like the last 2 weeks of being in New York, I was like, don't start any shit with me because if I have a bone to pick with you, you're gone. Just like if I meant it. And I think people called my bluff. I was like, I am not, you will never see me again. Like September said, who's gonna cry for you? Certainly not me.
Yeah, I was very surprised that, I missed the status, and then all of a sudden he was telling me this, and I was like, wait, who? And he told me all the people he blocked. I was like, wait, what? I was like, what happened? And it was all within, I will say, that it all was within like a day. So I'm like, and this to me, I think proved sort of what I had said before. And unfortunately, because I'm saddened that was sort of how it was, because Bailey is a really nice guy. He really is. He's funny as hell and everything, and that is amazing. But he really is a great guy. He's a great guy. And what it was that people were he never got the respect that he deserved.
And that's why I always felt more at home in Toronto, is just because I was able to just be myself. And in New York, it was always, you can't. And so much of it had to do with the fact that I'm black and I'm large.
Yeah.
So I'm not scared. I have no desire to lose any weight. So that's whatever. Even when I started Too Much for Brunch, for instance, it was like, oh, that's cute. No one cared.
Yeah.
I'm getting job offers all over the country. I'm asking to come speak places and work. Even that's how I ended up with the Texas move. I'm getting these offers and this love from people who've never met me. But people I've been living with for 15 years, and they're just like, you ain't shit. You don't even have shit. Like, even the shit that you create yourself ain't shit. So, fine.
Yeah, and I think that really what it is that this has proved that it was time to let go of that period of your life, to move on, and to say goodbye to those people. And I always say this, and with me, with my blocking and everything, I always say that if it is meant to be, if these people are meant to come into my life again, something will happen where we will come into a position where we are talking to each other physically, because I was like, I'm not doing anything electronically, we're done. So if we physically run into each other and we are able to have a good conversation, then that means, okay, maybe I can open that door. But if not, the door is closed, you no longer exist, and that is that. And I believe that that's sort of what Bailey is saying too, like, bye bitch.
So this is our last video for 2015. I hope it was a good year for you. I hope it was good for you as it was for me. I had a good time, did you?
This year has been a pretty challenging year for me, so I'm excited to see it end.
I think 2014 dragged for me, but 2015 I was like, nope, something gotta give. So join the conversation here with us as usual. Tell us your story. I want you to be a part of this. That's why I chose Join the Conversation as my tagline. Tell us about your experience with letting go of some things that were not working out for you in your life, whether it was a friend or a job or a community or a city or a boyfriend or anything. A pair of shoes that hurt your feet.
Well, and also I'm interested to hear your perspective on our perspective on letting go. Do you think that we're too rough? Because I've heard
People
or do you think we're just right, or do you think we're not rough enough? We're curious. We really want to know. So please let us know.
So if you have not been blocked, you can come on over to facebook.com/toomuchforbrunch. If you have been blocked, you can still visit me at toomuchforbrunch.com, but don't get cute. And you can also follow me on Twitter at TMFB_Bailey. And don't forget to follow our writer, Alex, as well, at TMFB_Alex.
And you can follow me at Collin_Yale, COLLIN_GEHL. And I generally don't block on Twitter because you can come for me on there. You get it.
Thanks for watching, and we will see you in 2016.
Happy New Year.
Bye.